Hey guys, okay, so I'm back and I wanted to let you guys know that getting on your hands and knees and praying is a marvelous miracle worker. There are other ways that miracles can happen even if you don't pray, because that's the whole point of a miracle. It's something that is unexpected or expected, but in a way that you couldn't even imagine, or you could have imagined. It was just a surprise that it actually happened like that. So, um, for instance, I just basically went into a new room, like a new motel room, and I did not feel comfortable around the place. I didn't feel like it was, um, I felt like something was a little bit off. Um, so I just immediately, decided to, second guess myself, and I wanted to stay here because I was like, well, it's really affordable, and I'm trying to save my money as well as I can, and I'm also trying to find somewhere just so I can have a roof over my head. I actually um, felt, a little shaky, and some things were a little bit odd, and I was just like, well, if I already booked it, but I didn't pay for it, yeah, I booked it online. So I went and I waited 2, 3 hours and I booked it. I still didn't like, the what was going on, the activities and things like that. But I was more concerned about getting a roof. Hurry up and booking me a place for the week so that I won't so that I won't feel tempted and try to go buy something else and then needing a room, and then it'll be like too late. So, unfortunately, God worked out everything out for me because I know how to manage my money, and I also know how to conserve with different resources and use them the righteous way, which is the right way. Unfortunately, I felt something weird when I was in here, and I started to do something weird. Like I suspected someone was using like witchcraft in the building. Like the, out of the middle of nowhere, they wanted to put like a white powder on the floor, and I was like, "Wait a minute, what is this?" So I was like, "Okay," I thought this up in my head. I know what this is. And there's two types of witchcraft. There's the bad witchcraft, and there's the good witchcraft. And and then some witchcraft is just to be nosy, to see things about you, and then but they're not going to do anything bad. But some of them, they just being nosy. So it's only really, yeah, two kinds of witchcraft, um, or three. One is just being nosy, and one is just being, well, bad and good. One is being nosy to see what they can take, and if you have nothing that they can take, then that's it turns out good in your favor. Um, And so I just immediately, I just felt something weird. So a lot of people would say, check what environment you're like, your house. If you have a house or an apartment, they say check the location, what your house is built on top of, because it can, have a bad vibe and have some spirits there in that house or whatever location that you are in or at. And so I just felt like, someone was, this motel was kind of like they have game. I felt like they had different type of, like they were doing something way off because it looks completely horrible. Like I didn't even know that it was going to be like this. Some things, it's not really a good one. I'm not going to lie to you. Um, but the only thing that looks nice is the TV. That's pretty much it. Um, so I just didn't want to, continue to think about something negative. I want to think about something positive because I'm not sleeping in my car anymore, and I do have a roof over my head. But next week I will be at a better one, and that would be back at a motel that looks a whole lot better. I mean, a hotel that looks way more better. Um, but until then, the reason why I'm choosing the hotels and the motels is because, um, and well, honestly, the reason why I'm doing that is because um, it's still been difficult to be, because I haven't looked at into it earlier, but um like recently I haven't looked into it, but I have a couple of months ago. But no one was accepting even unemployment benefits to get an apartment or a house or a duplex. They wanted you to have a full-time job, and that was my reason for having to choose a motel or a hotel. The other thing is, I end up doing something weird by taking everything off of my videos, like all the thumbnails. and then replacing them. So I'm like, what is that? I'm like, up the environment that you're in. So I immediately knew that it was because of the environment I was in. So I don't have to apologize to anybody, but I thank you all for some of you all who are in the word and some people who may not be. I was able to understand and see what was happening also. I'm like, why am I taking down my thumbnails? Why? And I'm like, oh, I said it's because of what's going on. But I immediately got on my hands and knees and I started to pray. And as soon as I got on my hands and knees and I prayed, it was under 2 minutes, guys. And I immediately felt a whole weight lifted off of me when I got on my hands and knees and prayed. So that's why it's very important to do that. And even when I was practicing getting on my hands and knees and praying before, I would feel like, when that feeling when you close your eyes and you open it and then you start seeing bright lights and you might see like little dots here and stuff like that. I didn't see the dots this time, but it was just like I just felt enlightened. I felt like it was a bright light all way over my whole entire body. So I thank you so much um, for even listening to me. I really do. I thank you so much for listening to me because I actually saw this woman um, who posted a video about the prophetic word, and it was about self-esteem. And I was like, why is my self-esteem feeling lowered? And this morning, it was high, and then for some odd reason, it just felt just off and weird. I'm like, well, why? Um, but now I know that it was only because of the environment that I'm around. Even though I'm by myself, it's just like, you know, the condition of this place may not be. I mean, the condition of this place already says enough about how they're keeping up with it and things like that. I've actually met some people that were really nice and really generous. I have, but the owner of this place should be ashamed. Um, but I'm very thankful um, that I do have a roof over my head. This will be the only week I'm in here. I just want to let you guys know that I will be at another place, another one next week, and I believe I'm going back to where I was because it was more organized, more cleaner, and more better, and So yeah, I was just trying to do the right thing by saving. Then I did something weird, and I caught a lift because this is nowhere near the city bus line, and I can't catch the city bus and um, over here, or I can't just get on. Well, I can catch a lift, but the bus is more cheaper than a lift, and I'm trying to conserve money because I want to get me um, some more things also. But I just want to let you guys know that I am going to get I want to get a newer laptop, and I also want to get um, a, a, a better camera so you guys can see me. Um, but other than that, um, I appreciate you all for watching my video, and I want you all to know that um, I now feel a whole lot better. I feel 10 times more better because I was able to get on my hands and knees and pray, and also just by me inspiring people on my Instagram by sharing the word of God, I'm able to enlighten my own self. And we need a break every now and then to just let our minds just breathe, let everything just breathe. But whenever we feel excited enough to share the word or do something really nice for someone else, then we should take that time and actually do something. It doesn't have to be way overboard, but it can just be just for a little while, and let enlighten someone else and inspire someone else. And that's my reason for writing that, and also letting you guys know here on YouTube about that. So a lot of things were just like, what the world just happened? Then the toilet overflowed, and then I was just like, oh crap. And then I went downstairs to go get some things, and I'm like, it was just the environment. So change your environment. Make sure that your environment, and I already knew, you know when I first came here that it probably wasn't gonna be the best of what I wanted. Not before I came here, when I came here and I waited, in the lobby area. So, but I just, it's gonna be okay. I'm not gonna be, um, in a bad mind frame because God is God is protecting me no matter what. And I depend on God for all of my help no matter where I am. And if I ever need God's help, I call on him. And if you're outside, some people don't want to touch the ground. You don't have to touch the ground. You don't have to touch the ground. Just pray. I remember I stood up waiting for the bus to get here to pick me up one day when I was at work, and I needed a car so bad. I told God, I said, God, I want me a house. I need to save up for my house. I want a car. I need to save up for my car. God, I've been trying to get me a house and a car for years. I've already had me a house or an apartment, but I was telling God that, I always wanted to get me um, a car, and I've been trying for years. I've been walking and riding the bike and catching the bus for years, God. You know the intent of my heart. I've tried my best. I got my license. Thank you so much, God. And I end up, getting a car, but someone ended up blessing me with a car. And I was so happy. And then I also prayed for him about getting a house because during that time I was in a shelter, and I really did not want to be around certain people that I didn't feel comfortable with. And I prayed to him for that, and then I ended up unfortunately going back to my mother's house. But then the pandemic hit, and then everybody, needed a place to stay. Really, eventually they did, and that made me, um, deal with sleeping in my car because I did have a car, and I've been sleeping in my car for months. And then next thing you know, the pandemic released it more um, money, and I was able to provide myself um, motels, or hotels to be in. So I really, really I'm thankful for that. But just knowing that, it doesn't matter where you pray, just as long as you pray to God and be detailed and ask Him. He already knows the intent of your heart. He knows your heart. You just have to say it because it's power in the tongue, and it's also power in the knowing and in believing and reaching out to God. That is powerful. So just know that getting on your hands and knees and praying is something that you should do. Thank you so much for watching, and I appreciate you all so much. And I will try my best to keep my self esteem and not get tempted by anyone else. And I probably won't ever look at another video unless it's someone that I really, really, think it's really, beneficial to me, and which I've always been doing. So, I don't really like to look at any violence, anything like that, um, because that can be like a distraction. But although, there are some things that, I did find, entertaining that now I pretty much, took a break from or just left behind because it just, right now is a time to really stay in the spiritual realm. And also, that's always how it's been. But, before the pandemic hit, a lot of people were telling a lot of people to embrace, all of embrace most parts of like fantasies, and embrace most parts um, of things that that you find funny, that could be amusing to you. And now at the ending of 2020 and early 2021, everyone is saying no more of that stuff. Do prophecy, share the Bible, share the scripture. I'm like, what is happening? So I'm like, okay, well, if we want to do that, okay, sure, fine. I don't have a problem with it. You know, because a lot of people were starting to eventually be ashamed for doing some things that the world was telling them that it was okay to do, because it wasn't harming anyone physically or, but now they're like, don't expose anything sexually, because they're like, now we're in a time where, the gospel isn't needed and it's necessary. And I'm like, okay. So now I was a little bit, confused, a little bit hurt. I was hurt a little bit because I was like, oh, that was something that was making me feel, that was making me embrace my self-esteem even more, in a good way. Um, but I also still had my restrictions not to do too much, even though I've done some things that people found entertaining. And I've learned to entertain myself doing some things. But it's like now, if people are ready for the word and people are ready for people to just give the word, then hey, I'm up for it. Just know that anything that we were embracing, 9 times out of 10 or 8 times out of 10, some of that stuff was true, and God is the truth. So I want you all to know that. Um, because if you find someone attractive, you find them attractive. If you find someone sexually attractive, you find someone sexually attractive, and that is the truth. Some now more people are leaving a lot of things behind, or want to leave some things behind, or being told to leave some things behind, and focus on something else totally different. And they're putting fear in people, like if they don't, something's going to happen to you, and that's what's breaking people's self-esteem, because they have just got confused about the internet. Yes, you don't believe everything in the internet, but at first it was just like, it doesn't matter. Anyone can flaunt anything that they want. As long as it's not, anything that's trying to harm anybody. And now they're like, everybody change. Everybody turns to one thing. Right now, I'm like, whoa, that came out middle of nowhere. Okay. So I think the only people that have a problem with that is the people who are being scared into doing it, and if they're not scared into doing it, then they're not really pretty much going to have a problem, and then they may, it depends. But I want to wrap this up. I've been here for 17 minutes. Thank you all so much for watching, and don't forget to get on your hands and knees and pray. Take care.